Hi guys, it's Melissa from Orgone Energy, and today I am so excited because I was able to actually get our founder, Gerard Bini, to come on and help me with all the frequently asked questions that I get all the time. He is going to take his time, which is amazing, to explain to us all the different aspects of the amazing products that he has created. So thank you so much, Gerard, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Melissa. There are two types of 5G, and most people don't know about this. And I wouldn't accuse the telcos of not doing the right thing, but they are lacking in their education. The first and original 5G that was developed was the 5G that was in what they call the smart poles or the streetlights. And that's when they go into a suburb, they take the old, here in Australia, it would be the fluoros down or the sodium globe streetlights down, and they replace them with a nice shiny new LED streetlight, and it has a microcell antenna in for the 5G. Usually it's a blue antenna that hangs down underneath. It might sit on top. There are a bunch of different manufacturers with different designs, and they all look different. Like, for example, in South Australia, here in Australia, in Adelaide, their CBD has a 5G streetlight, which is active, which you cannot see the microcell antenna. It's hidden within the actual light itself, so you wouldn't know. That's the dangerous 5G because it creates the positively charged geoelectric current throughout the entire suburb. So no matter where you go in that suburb, inside or outside, you can't escape the radiation charge. And it's a funny thing because everyone thinks 5G electromagnetic stress coming through the air from it, and those smart poles don't go too close to them. Like, they do create a strong charge around them out to about 3 or 4 meters. And there's a greater charge, bigger charge around the light itself, but you can't actually get up there. But they create geoelectric current throughout the entire suburb, which means that if you're living in a nice leafy suburb, in a nice house, and it had, let's say it had nice energy because it might have had a ley line running through it. A ley line is an earth radiation line that has a radiance. It produces a negative charge rather than an earth magnetic grid line, which produces a positive charge. And you might have a beautiful garden, and you've had the feng shui consultant in, all the colours right and everything. They come along and put the 5G in, and all that ambience that was in the house, which was either purposely created or naturally there by the ley line, all goes out the door because the geoelectric current knocks out the ley line completely. Knocks out all the negative charge resonance because it unbalances everything. Then what you get with the 5G in the streetlights in the suburbs are what are called geoelectric grid lines. And you won't find any reference to that on the internet because in building biology, the true understanding of a geoelectric current, what it does and how they act, is not properly known. I researched all this myself over a number of years, and at first, I didn't know what it was, and then I discovered a scientific paper written by engineers quite a few years ago about how they used to monitor power stations for geoelectric current during high solar wind periods, because too much geoelectric current can then overload the power stations and then you get blackouts. And they gave that term. So the geoelectric grid lines, which emanate out of the ground when you have a geoelectric current over a large area, they are about 2 meters wide. They're a wall of radiation. They have a stronger charge on either side of the grid line. They run north, south, east, west. I'm not blessing you. And they're 2 meters wide. And as they go up, they go outwards. So you might have 2-story house, 5G causing all this disturbance energetically. And then if you've got a geoelectric grid line running through the house, okay, on the ground floor, it'll be 2 meters wide. But if you've got a second floor, it will most likely engulf a large component of that second floor, which increases the radiation stress in the body. The other type of 5G is the 5G in the mobile phone towers. And in Australia, I think it was about 2017-18, they started setting up both systems, the streetlights in selected suburbs in most of the major capital cities, but not Melbourne where we are, which is quite interesting. And they also set it up in the towers. But because the 5G had gotten such a bad rap from the very beginning, which is the streetlights, and a lot of the testing which was done as far as the radiation testing of the streetlights in the very early days was published, and that wasn't good. That was quite damning because it is a problem. And the general perception of people who were interested in radiation issues, which are a particular type of people, the perception was that all 5G was going to be as damning as what the original reports said, which was about the streetlight 5G. But the 5G in the towers doesn't have the same radiation effect as what the 5G in the streetlight does. So the 4G, 5G tower, doesn't matter what it is, its radiation issue is up to about 10 metres out horizontally and vertically from the actual antenna, and you can't get up there close enough. And it also creates a geoelectric current to the boundaries of the compound that the tower is in. If it's on a building, well, that's a problem. Then the whole building comes under geoelectric current, no matter how many levels the building is. It just resonates all the way through because the building being a resonant cavity. But the streetlight 5G, if you're outside or away from the compound it's in, if you're 100 metres away from the boundary of the compound, what you're experiencing there is a radio frequency wave. And the radio frequency wave is non-ionising. And like for example, the Australian government has a website trying to explain to people that about 5G not being as dangerous as what people think. But the Australian website does lie a little bit because it doesn't. It's referring to the towers, not referring to the streetlights, and they don't want to address that. So like hide that one. But the other towers are great, and they're not lying in a sense. The wave, the radio frequency wave, has no charge. It has no positive or negative charge, and you've got to have positive charge in a field for it to interfere with the Chinese meridians. But if it's a wave and if no charge, it's actually harmless. And I've done that for quite a long time, and I've been challenged by people who sell shielding material, which is quite expensive, which does block radio frequency wave. But if the testing always does show that if you're outside the charge field, and a good example would be a wireless router in a house or a modem. If you're 5 metres away from that modem, when someone's on the internet, you're away from the charge field, you're experiencing a radio frequency wave, but the wave has no charge whatsoever. So it's not harmful as such. So they're the two different types of 5G. The third one, as we know, is Elon Musk's Starlink, which is a satellite. And there's a few, I call them crazies running around. There's one in the US, which is quite popular, which is a bit disturbing, who's making out that with Elon Musk's Starlink, we're going to be bathed in a rainbow of radiation we can't escape. That's rubbish. And also, satellite internet is not a new thing. It's an old thing. At our factory in Somerville, we almost got it a couple of years ago because we had terrible NBN, which has been a disaster over here. And I thought we'll get satellite internet, and it's only direct link energetically. And that doesn't have any of the dangers that the 4G or the 5G have. The 5G and the streetlights, and it's as harmless as the 5G. So in the towers, although there is a radiation issue with the modem, there's always going to be a radiation issue with the modem.